Hello, this is Christina from Chrislana Crafts on Instagram and YouTube. I'm here today to share with you a flip through of my completed Junk Journal July hosted by Meg Journals. I made the cover out of cotton fabric from boho tree and a piece of sari trim at the top. The closure was made of sari silk ribbon. This is my opening page. For that I use digitals from rubyandpearl.xo and Sample Designs, decorated with sari trim from boho tree, handmade paper. I embossed that brown paper from a restaurant. And this is the first prompt. It was begin. For this prompt, I used a digital of mine of a collection still to be launched and decorated with a few items like this envelope with a quote and some notes that I wrote with hindsight about how I saw the challenge, what the challenge meant for me. It was really great. Now this was reinvent, and for reinvent I thought of reinventing myself. I got all these colorful chocolate wrappings talking about things that you could do to improve your lifestyle, and I laminated them with a black and white picture of mine at the back, meaning that I must reinvent myself to be happier, to lead a happier and healthier life. This is prompt number 3, which was layered tag. So for that I layered a lot of things and decorated with the sari trim, another trim at the bottom, left some space on the back. This is prompt 4, which was transparency. And I used vellum, made this tag here with a digital of mine. The vellum is also a digital printed out, and I made that window that you can see and decorated all. The next prompt was fold out, and it was a very special one. I used my digital pour toujours. I'm showing there a bell that has a little heart, and my pour toujours digital kit is about weddings, and I made this page to celebrate my 5th wedding anniversary. This is the 5th prompt that corresponds to the 5th of July, and I wrote there the dates. It was my silver wedding anniversary. So there I decorated with ribbon from Sarah at Craft Paper Bits, trim from boho tree, and this is a picture that my husband and I took on the day that we were celebrating, on the 5th of July, right? There it's written our story, and I glued a picture of us at our wedding 25 years back. There I made another fold out with the envelope. It's also a tuck spot. The flap is a tuck spot. Both pages, the front and the back, there are my digitals, and inside the envelope I stored some pictures of us on this day, alone or with our kids. We visited the church where we got married. We visited my local parish for a special blessing. We had a celebration at my brother's, and we had dinner in the evening with the kids and exchanged our new bands. Prompt number 6 is symmetry. So I made a card and wrote this quote that you can see there, and as we open the card you see what I came up with for symmetry. Ta-da! It's a dragonfly. It's my first ever pop-up. I had never made a pop-up before, and I made it in a way that the flowers underneath also lifted up a bit. This is 7, prompt 7, which was bouquet. This is a tag that I made from my digital Le Rose, and the other page there, I'm afraid it's a little slightly out of frame, is from the kit De Femme. The next one coming up is wallpaper. For wallpaper, I made this tag using a wallpaper that I have that has a countryside scene. I guess it's called toile, and also a scrap of a wallpaper that I got from Virginia at Jupiter Arts Crafts on Instagram. The fussy cut flower was a present from Marcia, Meus Junk Journal, and the leafy trim from Shikra. The next prompt is clashing patterns, and I use for that 2 different digitals from rubyandpearl.xo, and made a flip up talking about how I want to use journaling to keep the memories of my family. The next prompt is timeout, and I used some of my digitals for that, and a tag that I got from Virginia. And this beautiful trim or fabric, embroidered fabric, is from Shikra at Boho Tree. This tag, beautiful tag, is from Virginia at Jupiter Arts Crafts. And I used this digital of mine to write about, it's like a bucket list of places I want to go with family, and I tuck them into this handmade paper tuck spot. The next one is fussy cut, and I must confess I wasn't very inspired for this one, but I did what I could. I laminated a bunch of fussy cut things and made a flap. The next one is dyed, and I used a lot of dyed paper, dyed fabric, trim, and everything. Was quite happy with that one. The next one up is mirrored, and I was a bit of a loss at what to do until I had this idea that you see now, of mirroring a girl with a pearl earring, making a mirror for that, and I use this beautiful fabric from Boho Tree. The prompt on the right was nature. I used one of my Polaroids and a few other things to compose the page. The next one was texture, and I tried to add a lot of texture there. Texture paste, washi, butterfly die cut, fabric, and liquid pearls. That butterfly, the wings are lift up. It's from the digital, but I lifted the wings. So it really turned out, it's one of my favorite pages, I think. I really like that. The next one, I'm showing my eco-dyed paper there, a print. For the next one, we have one-sided, and for that I made a sort of card made of vellum on the outside. I added a quote and that closure with sari silk ribbon. As we open up, there is a one-sided heart. So one side is totally full and the other is totally empty. I quite like how it turned out. This is the center page from a digital of mine, L'amour collection, and I left it as is. The next prompt was go to palette, prompt 17, and I'm known for being passionate about all shades of purple. So I made this collage on the left, and on the right it was a brocade, as if it was like the frame to a picture. The brocade is from Shikra at Boho Tree. The next one is prompt 18, which is cutout. So I made a cutout on a collage that I made and embossed, and added a few decorations and this couple from Tim Holtz. And at the window you can see a quote, "Together is a wonderful place to be," decorated too with sari trim from Boho Tree. For prompt 19, which is tucked away, I got half an envelope that I had dyed, decorated it with 2 digitals of mine and a sari fabric from Boho Tree. And I extended the page so it's different from what it appears on Instagram, because I made this page with a slit later on because of the next page, which was black and white, and I didn't want any color from the previous pages to pick out. Well, tucked away, I used to keep some memories of some party favor cards from my kids' birthday parties a few years ago. This is 20, prompt 20, which is black and white, and I used a picture of my father at his graduation, made a collage on the other page, wrote a very fitting quote, and decorated. I also added, later on as I extended the page, I added some lyrics from a song that I love and that reminds me a lot of my dad. I really like how this spread came out. I think this picture of his is so beautiful and I just love it. The next one up is Focus, which was the 21st prompt. I used this image of these ladies playing blind goat, made a collage, used trim from Boho Tree, and a bunch of other things, decoupaged a napkin from my friend, and that was it. 22 was blended, and I wrote a quote there, it's a flip out. Then I used texture paste, collaged a sari trim, and also some embossed paper on an image which is already blended in itself. Next one is Maximalism, and I made this sort of cluster of papers decorated with a lot of gold and this beautiful fabric, embroidered fabric from Boho Tree, and butterfly and everything, lots of gold there. The next one is Paint Splatters. It's a very simple one with splatters. For prompt 25, we have Peaceful, and I chose to use a countryside scene. There is this woman resting with the sheep. I glued a quote to the paper under the vellum to mute it down, and decorated with fabric from Boho Tree and a printed doily that Shikra gifted me also. Shikra from Boho Tree. The next one is Memento, and I used part of an envelope from a friend who I made while I lived in England, and he was writing to me here in Brazil after I'd come back. So I kept copies of some documents that can be better viewed on Instagram, and I still intend to write about these wonderful memories that I have. The next one coming up is Stripped Back, which was supposed to be a very simple make, and I just did some stenciling with texture paste and used a quote with a pretty bread my sister gave me. The next one is stenciling, so again I used texture paste, and also I used stenciling on this tag that I made out of some cotton fabric from Boho Tree, sari silk, a vintage tag, and a flower from a sari trim as well from boho tree. For geometric, prompt 29, I just mimicked painting on a wall. For prompt 30, which was a favorite quote, I chose one quote that I think is great. It's from my latest digital kit and decorated with sari trim from boho tree, eyelet trim, and etc. The next one is farewell. For farewell, I made a page and I actually shared the process on Instagram in a reel, how I made this paper. I'm not sure what to call it. It's like a notepad sort of thing, and I use some handmade paper from Virginia, Jupiter Arts Crafts. I use the fabrics from boho tree and my digital, and also made this tuck spot with a quote about the end of something being the beginning of something else. So I really loved participating in this challenge. I think it's always a great way to get us out of our comfort zone. And I thank very much Meg and all of you who followed and gave me the encouragement to continue. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.